TechER.
Welcome back. The internet. We use it every day. But do you really know how it works? Do you really know how it works? That's what I thought. Here to tell us exactly how the internet works is our lovely tech host, Jessica.
Hi, Lou. How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Great, great. You know, I just want to jump into this, but before I do that, I was just thinking as you were talking, I mean, it's funny how our society has become so naturalized to the concept of the internet, right?
Of course.
It's like, it's just this archaic form that just began since the beginning of time, and no one ever stops and thinks, how did this come to be? I mean, we get it in our airports, malls, coffee shops, and if they don't have it in a public space, we're kind of like, well, where did you guys come from? Did you guys just come out of a rock? I mean, where's the internet connection here? So I mean, it's funny, don't you ever think, why don't people ever question?
Well, yeah, probably people, they're too busy or they're, or it's, I don't know, they just take it for granted, really, right?
They do take it for granted, and a lot of the times people think it's just way too complex to even bother thinking about.
Exactly.
But I'm going to prove you guys wrong today. I'm going to show you guys just how simple it is to understand how the internet works.
Okay.
So now this time you can actually appreciate how unique this infrastructure really is. So the internet, the best way to actually think about it is thinking of it in terms of a 4-layer model. So let's start our way from the bottom and work our way up to the top.
Nice.
I'm sure you never noticed this.
No, I didn't notice.
Not
took
at
it by
all.
surprise. Yeah, wow.
No.
Okay.
So beginning with the first layer, it's the physical layer. And as it suggests, it's all the physical components required in order for two entities to communicate. Okay. So for instance, in the telegraph transmission, we have the telegraph machine, physical component, right?
Yes.
Now in the internet, what we would require are the computers, modems, and wires.
Okay.
So these are all the physical components required in a connection.
Olivia Newton-John would be very proud. You don't know what
I
I'm
have
talking
no idea
about.
what you're talking about. So far it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Now I need you to stay with me, Lou, because this next aspect, this next layer is a little bit more difficult to understand.
Okay.
But I assure you, if you stick with me, you'll be good. So, logical layer. The logical layer is basically the protocol or the language that is used in order to communicate. Because as we all know, we need to share the same protocol or else communication is just going to fail. So, for example, Lou, parli italiano o solo inglese?
Solo inglese.
How did you know that?
No, I don't
Okay,
speak it, but
you don't speak it. See, but for that instance, I was under the impression that Lou did know Italian because he knew the protocol enough to reply back to me, although you just reiterated what I said, so you're cheating. But nonetheless, to continue on, so basically the same thing goes with the telegraph. So the Morse code is an example of the protocol. So this is the Morse code. And if you notice the dots and lines, basically the dots and lines make up the alphabet of that language, Morse code. So the arrangement of these dots and lines basically conveys two things, the message and where it's going to go.
Okay.
Okay. Now, stay with me. TCP/IP is also a protocol, but this is used on the internet. So when computers talk to one another, they're sending information, and this is called data packets. So data packets are made up of ones and zeros, and the arrangement, well, before I even get into that, the ones and zeros you can also think of as the alphabet. So the arrangement of the ones and zeros conveys two things as well.
Okay.
What the message is and where it's going to go.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So let me show you TCP/IP in action, okay?
Please.
This is exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here is my handy dandy diagram.
Oh, wow, you're an artist.
Is that sarcasm, my sense? I think it is. I think it is. So let's just pretend that you want to send an email to computer 2 and you're at computer 1, okay? So this is the computers, the M's represent the modems, and the N's are nodes. I'm going to get to what nodes are in one moment, okay? So basically what TCP/IP does is it allows the information to travel throughout the internet connection. So you start here, and the data breaks up into small little bits and pieces. So they find different alternatives to get to the same destination. So these are all different routes that it follows. Now, what TCP/IP allows to happen is when the information is traveling through these various nodes, chances are one of them may fail. And a node, the best way to think of it is like a pit stop. So when you're going on a road trip with your buddies, you need to stop for the washroom break, whatever it may be. These are like washroom breaks for your information, okay?
Oh, okay.
So say you forget something at one of the nodes, you forget your luggage along the way. Or if the same thing goes, is say if you lose data along the way. What TCP/IP allows to happen is the information reroutes and finds a different alternative path to get to the end computer.
Wow.
So basically, TCP/IP allows the the actual communication to sustain. So no one node is more important or more reliant than the other. Okay?
That's fantastic.
Makes sense?
Great. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
All right,
actually.
so we got that down packed. Now moving on to the application layer.
Okay.
So the application layer is basically the intelligence of the network or the communication. So basically, for example, in the telegraph transmission, we have the telegraph operator because he or she possesses the knowledge of the protocol to
Yes.
translate it into something that we can understand.
Okay.
Or else we're just going to see a bunch of lines and dots and we'll just be like, okay, that's great. Now, similar thing goes for the internet. Pardon me, an example of an application on the internet would be Outlook Express or Windows Live Hotmail. Now these are email clients.
Yeah.
So when we send an email to one another, basically what happens is it takes these ones and zeros and it decodes it into something that we can understand, which is the actual visual of the email itself. Okay?
Okay.
So pretty simple.
Very.
Finally, we get to the content layer. And the content layer, as its name suggests, is the content of the message or the data that's being sent or received, okay?
Wow.
So the transmission of the telegraph will have the dots and lines, and it's translated into hello right over here, which is the content. And similarly, if we receive an email, we check our inbox, voila, we have the email.
Fantastic.
So that's it. Your
Wow.
easy 4-layer model of the internet, and now you can explain to all your friends how it works, and they'll think
Oh.
you're a genius.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. If you were ever wondering how the internet works, thank you very much, Jessica, for that. It has been a treat. So don't go anywhere. This is Techie R. We'll be right back.